Yes, welcome guys.
Welcome,
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, indeed, to another live podcast of
Being organic. So we're super organic,
a feel good
a feel good podcast. Whoop, whoop.
And so we want to start with prayer.
We are.
We're going to start with prayer. We're going to take a few minutes just to evoke the words of the Lord. Pray with us. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this week. We thank you for keeping us and covering us. We thank you for this opportunity to share, to embrace, to discuss, and to be creative. We ask that you bless this podcast and bless all of our viewers. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And I can take this home.
Woo-woo.
Yeah.
So guys, welcome. We're super excited today to talk to you guys about some things. Now, I feel like some of these topics are going to be things that you guys have seen. If not recently, you've seen them before.
Definitely. And again, the chat line is open. So we are asking if you have any comments, please feel free to drop them into the comment section, into the chat, so that this we can continue to make this an interactive conversation between not just Weathers and I, but you as well.
Yes, guys, we want your opinions, and we want to know what you guys are thinking, because we will be introducing topics that will, cause a little conversation. They are going to start a little bit of a
friction.
That's a good one, a little bit of friction. Yeah. So today in our feel good topics, the first one that we're going to start with is, yes, guys, the metaverse, and is it here to stay? So this was a topic that came to me as a feel good topic,
right?
I'm sorry, y'all.
So I guess it is here to stay.
So it came to me as a feel good topic, in the sense that I do feel like it is heading, or the metaverse is where technology, it's where it's gearing up, and it's where it looks like it's going. Like, they're looking for, an inclusive type of experience. And I think they're saying that the metaverse is probably our way to get there.
Okay. I know that you were saying in your research that a lot of gamers are already engaging in the metaverse as we speak.
Yeah, so there's a Decentraland that you guys can check out as well. There's Upland, which is like a property trading game. So if you're into the stock market, if you're into, those different things that, kind of aren't popular, and it seems like, only a bit of people have their hands in it, there are some easy ways to get yourself started in the metaverse. The biggest thing that they're talking about is it's, virtual reality. So the virtual reality is the thing that is like the biggest thing happening right now. So the gaming is popular on the metaverse. And I guess the biggest question that people are having is, what does it mean? And, how does it, affect me?
Okay. And so is it its own virtual space, for lack of a better definition? Is that like a short definition?
I feel like that's the that's the ultimate goal. They actually do have a definition for it. So we're gonna actually just real quickly I hit on this.
And so for those of you who are not familiar, and whether you could correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that Facebook is now metaverse.
So Facebook, Zuckerberg changed the name to Meta. So his goal is to kind of turn Facebook into, like, I guess, the leader or the leader in that. But it seems he has competition already with Microsoft. So Microsoft has tapped into some of the metaverse things. And a lot of people are saying that Microsoft might get there before Meta or Facebook.
All right, Zuckerberg, you better lace up your shoes, and because Papa is on your tail.
Listen, and Microsoft, they a lot of the talk is that they're feeling really confident about their metaverse space.
And I think at that level of corporate or I guess business rather.
Yeah.
They're just really following each other.
Mhm.
I don't know who was the originator, but when you look at the whole space between Tesla and Bezos,
Yeah.
and then now you have Gates and Zuckerberg. They are really head to head to kind of monopolize each area.
Yeah, and what happened was for how do I say why they're thinking or why it's moving so slow. They're saying that so many people are offering similar type of virtual reality. So
Okay.
many people are doing it, but they say it won't feel like a true virtual reality space until they find a way to make it a singular portal. So where you're going to this one channel to get to all the different things. They're basically saying it's so diverse right now.
Well, then, so I guess the question would be, who would own that channel?
Well, they say that's where a lot of the issues are going to come in.
That's
because
where the dollar did.
That's
the
where,
bill is.
yep. And a lot of the times, how do I say, when it comes to getting harmony and getting a cohesive framework, that's probably going to be where they have the biggest trouble.
Oh yeah, that's not going to be in their agenda there. But,
okay, so for their how do I say their definition of the metaverse? And sorry, y'all, because I did have this written down. But anyway, so they're saying the term metaverse is used to describe a combination of virtual reality and mixed reality worlds accessed through a browser or headset, which allows people to have real-time interactions and experiences across distance. So the biggest thing is like I guess they're all being able to, or they started this type of virtual reality, but they haven't kind of solidified it and made it to like one singular thing.
so
I think that's their goal.
They're gonna have like hookups in the metaverse. You can hook up with like a boo or something in the metaverse.
It's a feel good topic, and so, but I will say there has already been some controversy in the metaverse. So supposedly someone alleged that they had been assaulted, like harassed, assaulted in the metaverse. Yeah. So with their avatar,
yeah. Don't be talking. Don't be throwing shade on. Oh wow, hilarious.
So yeah, so it's a lot happening. There are a couple different areas that they're starting to see metaverse and see virtual reality pop up, and those are real estate. You're gonna see, and there's like a property, type of thing. You can buy property with virtual currency, which you obtain through real currency. There's a lot going on that are hinting at some metaverse factors in the classroom settings, which could be a really good thing as well.
Okay, that's a big deal.
Big deal. So it's a lot. Well, the kids are already, so much now on the computer for most of the things that they're doing.
Yeah, I definitely will be talking about that later in one of my points. But yeah, so that I think that one thing that I can say for this generation, we definitely have some goats, if you will, Gates and Zuckerberg and Bezos and Tesla.
Yeah,
are really breaking ground on some developments that we couldn't even think of or imagine. So,
and supposedly the terminology and the kind of software for this type of thing has been around since like the 90s. So it's been around. It's been being researched and seen. I guess the different type of effects it should it's going to have.
And now they're ready to launch it.
So, but they're slowly launching. I think they're looking to kind of give it that internet feeling. So like how the internet seems like something so distant, and or so limited to who could, get access to it. So I think they're looking to see how they can pinpoint and get it for everyone can get on the metaverse.
Well, it's interesting. We are watching to see how it unfolds.
Okay.
All right, good. So big up to metaverse. Big up to metaverse. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next topic, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, so we're gonna call this one "Where You Eating At?" And our first one is gonna basically be like, whose house are you going to versus our favorite restaurant. So
we're looking at everything from relatives,
relatives,
to friends, to popular restaurants like you saw in the clip. We highlighted Slutty Vegan, which is a Baltimore native. Currently residing in Atlanta, but she is bringing Slutty Vegan here.
Okay, that's information.
That is great information. But who else will you or will not eat at?
But there are some factors, and I would say in a lot of the communities of color, there is one kind of unspoken type of thing. You be like, oh, you can't eat at everybody's house. And I don't think we kind of really got to see the humor in that, like growing up, because we meant that in a very serious way. But today you can see the humor in it when you watch certain things, on social media. When you see the different ingredients come together for certain things. It's just like, she ain't add no. I don't know that I can eat over there because they don't. For me, I'm a picky eater.
Okay.
So where I'm gonna eat is just gonna be limited anyway because I don't eat everything that our people eat. So I'm not a big fan of onions.
What?
I'm not eating onions. I don't eat okra. It's just a couple things. Squash. I'm not doing that. So I don't eat a lot of stuff. So if you super cook with onions, no matter how good the food may be, I may or may not be able to eat at your house.
Well, I am a foodie, so I start most of my dishes with onion and garlic. That's just how we get down. We get the aroma going, the essence, the roux with garlic and onions. It's the base to everything.
Not to everything. Somebody put onions in collard greens once. I've had onions and greens. I don't need no onions in my greens.
But how was it?
It's texture for me. I don't hate the taste of onion itself, but the feeling of onion in my mouth and all those soft mushy foods, I can't get with that.
The greens are soft.
They're not. Your greens should not be but so mushy.
Okay. Well, where else wouldn't you eat, or what else would you eat? Now, for me, I remember having a girlfriend that I worked with. She was a Caucasian woman, okay, and I prefaced that by because she ranted about how good her fried chicken was.
Okay.
To a Mississippi mother bred sister, and I'm like, okay, bring it to work. Let's try it out. And so she did. She brought it to work, and I was like, oh, it's okay. It ain't that bad, It's okay. It's chicken. It's chicken, Fast forward a few years, and we were at her house having the same meal.
Mm-hmm.
The girl took the chicken out the pack and proceeded to season it. No washing of the chicken. Somebody give me a red flag.
We gotta get one. Wait, we gotta get one.
Hello. Red flag.
Well, that came up as a debate.
What?
Whether or not you need to wash chicken.
What?
One of the scientists. I forget which scientist.
The scientist, my whatever. You have to wash the chicken. It's sitting in slime and blood water.
But my thing for not why I would have a problem with somebody not washing the chicken is I think when there are certain things like that film that's on chicken, I think you need to kind of get rid of that. So you have to wash in order to do that. But they were saying that from washing the chicken, you can spread more salmonella.
Whoever said that, ask to them. They are clearly, they don't know what they talk about.
So the washing of the food would keep.
That would definitely be one of my first red flags if you do not wash the yard bird and get the feathers off. Hello, back in the day we used to take that joker over open flame and sizzle all of that hair off because I'm getting ready to eat and I don't want no feathers.
Yeah.
So that was a red flag, not washing the bird. And really, If you look at the Islanders, Jamaicans, Trinidad, they wash their chicken in lime. Yeah, they get it clean. They want all the blood out. But yeah, homegirl was fine. Unwashed bird.
She probably read something. One thing that I do like, I like how do I say it? I like young people that can cook, you know, like so that they got any of the skills. Like it's almost like you stood and you watched your mama and grandma cook. I like I like
to the hip.
Yep,
come
yep,
to the
yep.
hip and learn. So not cleaning the food. What else? Of course, we know if your house not clean.
Yeah, that would be a problem. And I would say maybe if you how do I say if you got too many like issues going in your house, or like maybe too many kids, too many family members, like if it's a
lend to cleanliness.
Yeah, because it's like all of y'all like.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny. We can look at a friend or a relative about cleanliness, but if you go into the back house of any restaurant,
which leads to our topic on favorite restaurants, because that's a real statement. Because sometimes it's not even having to see. When it comes to restaurants, especially dining in,
yeah,
the smell. I hate that smell that most restaurants have. It's like a clean smell, but it's not clean. It's like you can smell that there's some
old
type
food
of
old grease.
Yeah, you can smell that cleaning product is somewhere. But what in the world did you do with the cleaning product?
Yeah.
Because what's this old staleness, like this staleness in the air?
And well, it's a catch-22. I know when I go to sit down at the table, I like when they come and clean it off. You know, they come and wipe it down. But then when they wipe it down, it's like bleach and water. And I'm just like,
and it's never bleach. It's that sanitizer. Because
I
wish it was bleach. I wish they could use bleach. Because having worked in fast food, that sanitizer packet, I do not trust it. It's this much water to this square.
That is hilarious. Hilarious.
What in the world? And then they're expecting you to do that maybe just once or twice an hour, meaning change it.
Yeah.
I wish that y'all
do something about it. And then what about the people who just can't cook?
Yeah.
Stop opening your doors and having parties and you know you don't know how to cook.
And cater. Catering is a real thing. You can always cater. And if you know you're not the cooker too, don't be bringing stuff to the potluck. Outside of, you bring plates, you bring forks.
Right. You bring the
I don't want to cook.
Bring the
for nobody. So I'm bringing I might grab some things they might not even need, so I can have something in my hand while I'm walking in the door.
Yeah. You know,
but I might not
bring the potato chips.
Bring something. Nobody's asking you to do it.
Don't volunteer for a main dish or a side if you cannot cook. If you ain't get the request, it's for a reason. Ooh, how about that?
Yes.
But Slutty Vegan definitely has a large crowd, lines around the door.
But the food looks good there. Like the advertisements look good.
They look, and I mean, Slutty Vegan, that sounds kind of adventurous, kind of interesting. I mean, like, what's on the menu?
I'm glad that they stepped out of I'm glad that they used that they weren't fearful in using that terminology, because we try. I think sometimes when you have a business, you try to be so, seem away to the public. Mm-hmm. And what I find, or what I think stands out the most to me, are people who tend to be uniquely themselves.
Originators.
And I find that they tend to have the most, success in a lot of their endeavors, because it feels like them. It doesn't feel like this. So that's a really great thing that they did with the name. It's another, I forget the name of it, it's another cute vegan restaurant that's in, what's that other food market? I think it's Holland's Food Market.
Here in Baltimore.
Okay. Yeah, it's another one. I forget the name.
It has a catchy name.
It has a catchy name.
Yeah. I would think that going into such a broad field as food, you want to have something that stands out. So she was dead on with that in that title, because she wants to stand out and be recognized. Mm-hmm. We want to remind everybody that This is a live broadcast, so feel free to jump into the chat.
Yes,
Feel
please.
free to
Yes,
also
please.
like
Mhm.
and subscribe so that you will be notified when we go live.
Mhm.
And we will actually take heed to your comments and bring them in.
Yes, we want to talk about the things that you guys are excited about.
Yes, yes, yes. And with that said, we're going to go on to our next topic, which is...
So how do I say, we're dissecting the words and the terms today, clout and shade.
How about that? Y'all peeking Sophia Loren, looking down at Miss Mansfield.
But listen, the other one is unbothered. Okay,
but she was definitely giving her the eye.
She was giving her the eye, which we would call it now shade. And the reason why I found this so, how do I say, such a topic that I feel like we could have this topic is because these two words have completely different meanings as to how they're being used today. So through our discussion before we came on, we realized how one of the terms can be viewed in a negative light. And that word is going to be clout. So if you look up the definition of clout, it literally means having influence and or power. So meaning your name has clout, your family, a business. It's not something I would say to shun.
That's true.
But it's actually, for me, one of the words from back in the day that you don't get to hear anymore. Almost like it's lost its essence, but I just don't feel like it has. I feel like what happened to the word was somebody, basically people chasing it.
Hijacked it.
Yeah, they basically grabbed the word, and because people wanted so bad and probably were doing so much, to get it. Now the person is clout chasing, lending
clout chasing.
That's what they call it, clout chasing, lending clout to be, almost deemed this thing that's like not wanting. I want clout. I'm not gonna say that because I mean it in the literal definition. I of course want influence. My goal is to inspire.
Yeah.
It's certain things that I feel like we have to sometimes not hijack words, to that extent.
Yeah, that has become such an issue in just our vocabulary because, from generation to generation, you're going to bump this just through vocabulary because of this hijacking. I mean, shade. How did you? I think if I say throw shade to my mother, she'll probably be like, "What
do you mean? How can you do that?"
Exactly.
But now I will say, because how do I say, if there is a definition, there is the word shady. So there is that, I do believe that shady has a definition that leads towards it being like, a little not controversial, but shady. I think they have a definition for that, like the
dishonest.
Yeah. I think there is we'll double check that because I didn't think about the word shady this whole time that I'm doing this.
Yeah, shady. Because I'm like throw shade is different from shady. Being shady, right?
Well, but I think that might have been the derivative. Like I think that's where you could have derived shade from. Because if you're doing normally when you first
in the hijacking, I'm not. Because if you throw shade means what?
You're throwing an insult.
Okay.
You're
or
attitude, insult. One of the
attitude, insult. But if you're being shady,
you're doing some dishonorable
stuff. So it's kind of a hijacking word.
I was saying that's a little intermingling because normally if I'm not gonna throw shade, intentionally if I rock with you like that, So if we're tight like that, if I'm shady with you, then I am of questionable, moral character.
Absolutely. It's really a catch-22.
It's a catch-22,
and I guess it depends on the person and the conversation being had
and the intent behind it. Because I can see, because even though I don't agree with it, but I can see where doing things to be recognized, and for me, even just doing something to be recognized, that does not extend to clout to me. Just being seen that anybody can be seen, but to have clout, you would actually also have to have also influence, yes, presence. People would have to be able to, look at you and see,
right,
the power. They would have to see that.
So you're not just going to get clout by
you're not going to get, you're not going to get clout by trying to be cool or trying to be something that you're not.
It's an established presence.
I'm with it. Yes. Okay. I'm with it. So yeah, I was like cloud versus shade. I was like, clout and shade, because I'm like, man, they get thrown around so bad, and I'm like such a big fan of words. So when I seen it happen to clout, the first thing I did, and this is over 2 or 3 years ago, so they've been running with this a while.
Okay.
This was a long time ago. I looked up, I said, I knew that clout wasn't like. I said, why is they coming for clout like this? I said, but that's
But we can tell from the pictures that we use that shade has been around for a long time.
Shade has been giving the vibes, right?
You talk about Sophia in her prime. She was definitely giving shade.
The girls, and Marilyn was another shady girl. And you know who I like though? And I don't know that I would call her shady as much as I would call her real. I like Eartha Kitt. Sometimes when
she gave it with that little cat purr.
And she had that, it's in that face.
Yeah, darling. I'm like, what? With that little purr and yeah, she gave it. She gave it. So that's good. So big ups to our madames for throwing shade. Y'all know how to get it down.
And the girl.
So is that was our last feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, feel good. So now we want to break out to a quick commercial and just remind you that this is a feel good podcast sponsored by Say It To Me Productions, which is a co-owner of France Organic Body Care. Awesome. So we're just highlighting again our brand new.
I got it on right now.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yep, I can smell it working well. Perfect.
That's right, guys. You're never gonna smell me.
You're never. I would hope not. Okay. And so it is the sea moss, brand new on the market. It contains organic Irish sea moss, and it's doing very well. It's very well received, so we're happy about that.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. Moving on to our next topic, distractions. So how to handle distractions to really accomplish your goals and to do that easily. So I think earlier we were talking about we talked about Metaverse, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about how to choose which house to eat in, and we also dissected clout and shade. Yep. And so when I think about definitely the Metaverse, I see that as a potential distraction. Mm-hmm. It's a lot going on. When you talk about gamers already having a foothold and the presence in the Metaverse, for me, I look at it as just another thing that will occupy your attention. So when I think about distractions, I think about creating a short list of some ways to handle them. And so the first thing on my list would be don't start your day with your phone. Don't start your day with the phone. I know that I'm guilty of it. So one thing that I try to do, if I know I'm going to start my day with my phone, is to have a preset time limit on how long it takes me to go through what I got to do. Mm-hmm. The next thing I have is control your notifications. Oh my goodness. When I open up all my notifications, every time I hear a bing, a whistle, or whatever, I'm automatically on alert to find out who's calling me, what just came through, did money just leave my account, did money just come in, I'm hoping for the latter, and just what's going on. But if I limit those notifications, like when I'm in service, when I go to church service, I cut my notifications off so nobody will come and hit me with the Bible. But actually, that's a really great time to be in oneness, to be mindful, to have some peace. But when I get out and I cut those notifications on, it's like Christmas. Bing, twing, all it just goes crazy. So definitely limiting, controlling your notifications is a good way to limit distractions. Next, it is I have become aware of your distraction. So if you know the things that occupy your time, if you're scrolling on your phone for hours, and I've been guilty of it. If that TV show, after that goes off and there's another TV show. So if you're on reality TV for hours, you might want to take a peek at that. So just being mindful and knowing where your distractions are.
And I would say too, because that's a good list so far, but what I would tell people, I think just like computer data, what you put in is what you get out. So the thing that I've realized with social media, the more, the more negative that I search for, the more negative that I follow, the more negative I get.
Yes.
One of my accounts, so I have a couple different, because I have a couple different things that I do. One of my accounts gets way more blogger footage than other ones. Some of my one of my accounts is almost so clean that I'd be like, and go to
you
my
a little bit
and
of
I
trash.
go shoot the trash. So I do tell one of the things that I do say to people, because I don't think we give ourselves this type of control over ourselves. You control the things you see.
Yes.
It's like being around a person you don't like. Make it make sense. Why are you here? You know,
occupying my space, taking up my time.
Matter of fact, you don't even like me. Divert yourself.
Well, that's next on my list. Make time for little distractions. And so really stop giving your time to things that are not useful, things that don't feed you.
Yes, and you don't even, have a valid opinion on outside of you not liking it, because that's the thing that I see that can be a distraction on social media a lot of the times. Some people, it would never be me, baby. If it would never be you, why couldn't this comment not have been me? It's
that
just like
true.
Make it make sense sometimes.
Yeah, I think that first you want to just find out what part of your distraction are you responsible for, and I think that's kind of where it starts, because how else are you going to change it if you're not responsible for it, right? Yeah. So again, I'm not throwing any shade. I'm just saying, own it. Okay, so I also have clear the clutter. So just eliminating. If you know that YouTube versus Instagram versus Twitter versus whatever, amongst those channels, if a certain one is occupying the majority of the time, you might want to delete it for a month. I've seen people do that.
A lot of people do that
from Facebook for a month or two.
And I would suggest that for people who find themselves highly affected by others. So if you know, if you know that, oh my God, girl, why you put them? If you know you affected by things like that, you try to do something, so that you. Like, you gotta know, if I know that I'm irritated by people a lot, why do I that's like an introvert putting herself at a super lit party,
which would not happen, because she knows her boundaries. Because
they know their boundaries a lot of times. They would not put themselves in a situation like that.
Right. And that's actually my next one: create boundaries. No browsing at a certain time. Not putting yourself in an element that does not feed you. That's not good for you. That's not pleasurable.
Yes,
it's not going to work.
And even though it might be pleasurable, because I feel like, this last one, because I wouldn't have brought it up outside that. I felt like it would actually just flow right into it, because porn has come up a lot. On some of the pages I follow, when they list distractions, they list porn.
Wow.
And what I would tell people is, I can see how I've been down the wormhole, so I can see how you can get distracted on that. But I would say with everything, why are we? How do I say? Why are we giving so much time to extra things like that? Because I can be on a porn site, but I can't be on there engaged, but for so long. You know what I mean?
Well, that's because it's not your priority. And I think that browsing is one thing.
Yeah.
Engagement is something totally
Yeah.
different. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I have caught myself on Instagram browsing for like 40 minutes, almost an hour. And
for
I'm
you
like,
page, that explore page.
I don't know what it is. All I know is, what? Ooh. And then next thing I know, an hour is gone. And I'm like, no. So,
yeah, that's a real thing.
Definitely for me, it's about setting boundaries. I am very mindful when I get up in the morning. I check my calendar for the day and make sure I'm going to be on time for everything, and I know what my meetings are. And then I might give it 5 minutes, and then otherwise I'll be late.
Yeah,
I'll be late. So that's definitely a distraction, and we want to be careful about what we hand down to our children because we're already creating distractions for them by giving them all of these tools through phones, iPads, and then just access to TV because we know TV is full of reality shows.
Yeah.
I mean,
the kids, I guess for me, parents just need to just the way that we feel about music. You gotta be hands on. You can't give them tablets and not have anything on there to kind of control what they're doing, what they're seeing, because the kids are too good with it.
Yeah.
The young people,
yes, they are.
They know what they're doing. And a lot of the times, I'm talking like under 3, so that they have a sense of what's happening on there. Yeah. So I think for them, it's going to be like how it was for us once we were like maybe 16, 15 upwards, being an adult. They're going to be, phones is going to be, the tablet's going to be second nature to them. The computer's going to be second nature, even more so that I can't move without my phone anymore.
Well, it definitely is a mindset. I mean, we know that there are people out there who really control their house. Even in my family, I have cousins and stuff who don't even get on social media and don't subscribe to it. But when you look at your household and you have a phone, your kid has a phone. Your refrigerator has the computer built into the door. You have what's the thing
they don't even need to know the time.
No, what's the thing that you're talking
Alexa
to?
Alexa
or Siri. I've seen little babies requesting songs from Alexa because they know. So these things
and they don't have to do same stuff that we had to do in school. Their works cited page, from what I hear, is looking different. So they're so many. It's so easy to cite references. It's so they don't. I know that they're not going to have the same type of researching that we would have had to do. They don't need to tell the time anymore because that's why a lot of them don't know it. I just seen a thing. They showed, I think we were talking about this last week. They asked the girl what time it was. The little hand, if I'm not mistaken, the little hand was on the 2 and the long hand was on the 10. And the sucker said 2:10. That's not the time.
I don't know where she got it from, but
who's teaching them that? Because 2:10 and she wasn't no little baby. She looked like preteen. We're gonna give her at least preteen.
Well, I don't know what they're learning in school. I mean, they're taking everything out of it. So I think they're relying on these schools and the digital platform so much. Oh my Lord, they get ready to get into the Metaverse with the digital platform.
They probably about to.
I hope somebody in the Metaverse know what time it is.
I want me a Metaverse space, y'all, where y'all can come hang out with me.
Oh Lord, but we will see. But
you thinking about it? No. Y'all, we gonna be on the Metaverse.
Not right now.
Oh, okay.
Not right now.
That works for me because that means not.
But you know what? That's the one thing that I will say. The creativity is so extraordinary. You can never say never. You cannot. So I'm going to say I don't know. How about that?
I'm going to research it, y'all, and y'all tell me stuff in the comments so that I can give me some leeway. Help me out. I need help.
And so, yeah, that's what I just had. I had distractions, social media versus trash news, reality shows.
Well, we can dig a little deep
Metaverse.
into that little reality shows because we're having they're having a moment right now. I know there's a new. I think Zeus is a black-owned channel.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, and I do think there is another one. What's the other one? Where somebody else got a show coming out. It is a lot of drama going on, but shout out to them, for having a network. But yeah, the reality shows. How do I say this too? Because I've seen a couple of reality shows that came out with like a decent kind of storyline. They don't get the same and that's the
following.
Yeah, they don't get the same following. They don't get the same posting
as
negatives.
You said because the distractions are creating a model, almost like a platform to follow, right? A footprint, if you will. And so if it continues that way, we're not going to get away from it.
Well, and I think, what has to happen, and it's kind of like how people always say, if you're a person, and we are these type of people, so we're feel-good people.
Yes.
If you're a feel-good person, find your people.
Hello.
Find your tribe.
Where are you?
We're here, and then you can effectively have everybody, share. Hey, y'all, we're gonna share this because this is so beautiful. Because there's a couple things that I've seen today that I feel like are not gonna go as viral. It was this cute little boy. He literally shouted his way from the top of wherever they started at. And mind you, he in school. So he in school in line. He shouted, with respect to the teacher and his classmates around him. He shouted all the way out to the playground, on the playground. And I don't know if she was joking or not, but the teacher said he started laying hands afterwards. And for me, it was funny, it was cute, it was wholesome. It's something that we don't get to see as a young black boy. So, they always talk about how angry, we are, how upset or how mad, how dysfunctional. But this wasn't that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's not going to get that same energy. It's not going to get that viral energy. It happens sometimes where good stuff goes viral, but not enough. I feel like it's always overshadowed.
Not definitely with people. I mean, I see the people feeding the homeless or something like that. And
people got something to say about that too, though.
Yeah, they do.
They relax. They can complain about anything. They be like, why would you show somebody? Because enough people aren't doing it. Enough people aren't giving to the homeless. Yes, you don't want to do things just to be seen, but I would tell a person with the right intent, don't let that type of mentality from social media stop you from posting something. Like if you feel it in your in your gut, in your soul, post that, because sometimes those people who are doing the giving and doing the charity, I don't care if they're doing it for show, it inspires somebody else.
It's nice to know that it still happens. And
because if we didn't see that, what would we see?
Yeah, that's true. I love the fact that I've seen one or two incidents of Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, going into Walmart, taking care of somebody's bill or something similar like that, buying somebody a meal. He doesn't have to do it, but the fact that he does, and that it's and that we get to see that, I think is motivation for other people, players or whomever, but people of status to give back. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, and most of them, how do I say? And this is something that I tell people all the time. You cannot look at them on the outside, looking in and be like, oh, they just doing it for taxes. That's the way money works. It's a big conversation. They like, oh, they only doing it because they get tax breaks and they can write that off.
But he's still doing it.
You still have it. How do I say? Them getting a tax break just to me solidifies what you're doing. So it's like, you know what? You did this good thing. Here you go. You don't get, charity. Yes, you can do it without, taking a little slip. Yeah. But at the same time, people, it's okay to want to be rewarded for doing the right thing sometimes.
Well, I don't know how to just give shade to those people, because you have to think, here's a man that is a multi-millionaire, right? That pretty much the whole world knows who he is. He's going into Walmart and paying off one person's bill. I mean, if he's going to go through all that for a tax break, I mean,
And
really, if he wants to give, he could give through United Way
through
or American
United
Red
Way.
Cross and get a huge break.
Yep, people.
So,
So
I mean,
it's always naysayers,
Yeah.
and that's the
petty ones.
yes, and that's the part for me that keeps, you know, sometimes if you have a lot of people around you saying no to you all the time, keep in mind that you almost cannot avoid that type of, you know, setting. You can't avoid those people.
Yeah. I think it's unfortunate, but Shaq, if you're watching, keep doing it, dog.
Good job.
Keep doing it.
So that's distractions.
That is distractions. And so we're going to end with our now not feel good topic, which is a doozy, right?
So case analysis, how does this happen? And guys, we're talking about Piper Lewis and that recent, how do I say, case,
Judgment.
the judgment in the case. So if you're not familiar, she recently, or as a matter of fact, this happened a while ago, seemingly. So she was 15 when it happened. She got caught up into like sex trafficking. Young girl met by older man who introduced her into a lifestyle of like promiscuity and prostitution. Yeah. So eventually, from what happened to her, she actually escaped. Well, she ended up killing him. She stabbed him, and was able to get away from the killer that way. Recently, she's been fined over $100,000, $150,000 that she has to pay to the family of, you know, the victim. Restitution. Yep. For what, you know, basically for her being a victim as well.
Right.
So,
and this is restitution to a perpetrator, to someone
to his family
who actually raped her.
And then I'm thinking 15 was when she went to jail for it. So I'm wondering, you know, when did, like, how long had they?
Well, I don't know the case fully, but I do know that this young girl was, just traumatized for years. She was brought into someone's home who was not convicted, but this person actually was the instigator in her going into this prostitution ring, type of lifestyle, and has not been charged.
It has not been charged. And so that's the part that I would think I might have struggled with the most. Like, no one, so she's the only one basically being punished. And it's because, and they said the judge's hands were tied. And all I'm thinking, because I know that laws are varying from state to state. So I'm thinking, what do we do, or what can we do, you know, as individuals to kind of suffer these laws? Because how does that make sense? It just didn't make sense for me. I just think about if I, you know, had been for years, like a couple years, in this continuously being drugged, continuously being raped, assaulted by multiple men. If I break away from that, I cannot imagine then being punished.
Or life being normal and
life being normal and being punished for that. So it was a real struggle for me to kind of read the story. But I will say is, and I'm hoping that she feels it too, but there are some silver linings in the story. She will be on parole, and a lot of things really upset me. They said she'll be on parole, harsh, with strict regulations. She all those things, but she will be free of him. And I ain't gonna say what I seen in the comments, but some people they hit it right on the nail for me because I was in agreement. But she did have her GoFundMe actually overextend, so it's more than what it was supposed to be. So she's past the goal for to be able to pay off those fees. But it was really I can imagine that being kind of traumatic for her because in my brain I can't think of a better thing that she could have done.
Well, when you think about how did this happen, I think for me, I start thinking about all the different elements that went into deciding this case, because there were a couple. Yes, there was a loss of life, but at what expense? This girl was trying to save her life, save her life, and so I can't just even fathom the mental anguish that she suffered as a result of this. But I mean, surely if you take a life, there is a responsibility there. But it kind of is really close to self-defense.
And first off, it's really rape, because even if it was consensual from back in the time, she was still 15. So how do I say? Right now, with everything that we see playing with other celebrities in the news, the things that we've known about that particular thing, to see this happen in our face and her to be, almost, well, basically punished, for what happened to her, it's kind of like a slap, and I don't mean no harm, in the face of Black women, because at the same time, all I could do was think at 15 years old, if this was anyone else, she's a hero to me, but she would be deemed a hero.
Yeah, I just think to go through that, and the end result is that you have to pay your perpetrator's family money.
And the family, I'm looking at the family sideways too, because at some point you have to call a spade a spade, and this is what we're talking about when we talk about accountability.
Yeah. So we really want to just pose the question to our audience: how does this happen?
And yeah.
How does this happen when you have a judge? And I think the judge presiding the case was an African American man.
And they said their hands was tied. So that was a term that I heard. But how? Explain it to me, because I forgot to mention this. While they were giving her her arraignment and the different things, they told her, to make sure you tell your story. To how do I say? So basically so that this doesn't probably happen. That same story to give us, so that it doesn't happen to nobody else, and you can inspire others. Why tell the victim to tell their story, their abuse and sex trafficking story, after being punished? It's like, I don't know. That's the two-piece and a biscuit.
I just think that there needs to be more laws introduced around trafficking
and around women's rights. And I'm for men's rights too. I'm for men too, but
not when they pimping you and trafficking you.
Yeah, and not when something like this feels like, because I can't imagine, being in her shoes right now, because I can't actually, I would actually forgive myself. I would be calm. I would be settled. Everything would be well with me. But I can't imagine, having to deal with the aftermath of this. And killing somebody traumatizes you.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
She's probably traumatized, like,
even more. She can't free herself. She can't even begin the healing, because she's gone through the episode. She was, of course, involved in the homicide. She has to go through parole, and now the restitution. So she has gone through a traumatic experience that continues.
And to even tell her, as the victim that's paying restitution, to tell your story and help save someone else. So y'all can do the same thing to them. Y'all, I'm working on myself. It really got me tight.
She would be the one that would need to advocate for the laws, or maybe her legal representation will be the ones that need to advocate for the laws for women's rights, centered around trafficking, and just being a victim in that kind of situation. Because clearly, how does this happen?
Yeah, and what I would tell people as a forewarning, sometimes when we're watching TV, it's a kiki, it's a drama, but sometimes if you watch what's happening outside, you can see very similar situations. And it might have a TV element too when you're watching some things, but watching her case reminded me of The Handmaid's Tale. And if you haven't watched that, it's a show where they basically stripped women of their rights, and made it so that they had to be handmaidens. So It's literally the wife here, the handmaiden, and then sex with the husband happening because the wife can't have a baby. And it's just a movie. But when things like this, you start to see it, and then you start to see different things being overturned. You start to see women's rights slowly leaving. You start to see someone be raped and victimized and then have to pay a restitution because she survived. I mean, granted, she did, but she still she just had to survive.
If you call it survival,
she had to
she's
survive.
really still tormented.
And I think it would be, and I think it's even more so. So yeah.
Well, that pretty much concludes our lineup for tonight. What do you have planned for the weekend?
Relaxing. I'm prepping myself to head back to work part time, y'all. So if you're gonna be in the Towson area on the second floor, Weathers will be in the building. I got those body scrubs. I got the deodorant, and we should be getting that All Fresh toothpaste back, y'all, because I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Like
she must go make it.
I'm not making nothing. She know I don't do hard work.
Hilarious. Well, what do I have? I have a girlfriend's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
I mean, well, the 17th is what's the day?
Oh yeah, tomorrow.
And
I'm a little jealous, y'all. I'm supposed to be doing me a little chiropractic adjustment. I'm gonna do that. They having a special. They having a special. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna let y'all know what is special happening after I go tomorrow and see if they give me a little deal for giving them a little promo.
Oh, well, promo is always good. But we want to thank you as always for joining us. We hope that you guys have a great weekend lined up.
Yes, and if this got a little, if we had a lot of information, if it was a little bit much to handle,
take it all in.
Take it all in. Take it in doses.
Take it in doses, right? You can always stop and rewind and play it again. So we will be back on Monday.
Yep, on Monday,
7 p.m. Eastern Standard. And until then, I am Fran.
I'm Weathers.
And this is Being Organic, a feel-good podcast.
And a Say It To Me production.
We have been practicing. Have a good weekend, guys.